All right, let's go. Episode 529.
Oh.
Soul Not For Sale. Date Night Conspiracy. Because the wife's here.
Hello.
Wave to the people. Oh, let's get into it. Uncontacted tribes. In this one, because I haven't played the clip for you, he's going to talk about some medicine stuff that goes on in the Amazon, which is really, really weird to hear. You heard a little bit of that. Then he's going to talk about a very interesting story between a boy and his mother, and they were separated. One went to the jungle, one went to like the United States, and it's a really, really interesting story, but it just kind of makes you think. And then we got some stuff to read about that. You got the stuff?
Yeah.
Let's get into that. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I saw one of those commenters you were talking about. You're like, oh, I don't like those comments, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's stupid. So dumb.
Saw one guy. He's like, let me give you some advice.
That's the one I was talking about. Exactly.
Always the advice.
Always the mansplain.
I used to give people advice, too, before I had a channel. And then I started one. I was like, never giving someone advice again.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for advice now.
Do what you want. Keep it going. All the best.
But somebody just wrote, Aloha, Colin and spouse. Remember the series back in the 80s called V for Victory? No, V for Vendetta. I don't know.
I don't know what V for Victory
Someone just
is.
commented that. Teacher Tim 44. Thank you for commenting. Figured I'd just read that out since I had it there. Get the phone away. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's start. What do you want to start with? You want to start with the clip or do you want to start with the reading?
Let's do the clip.
You want to do the clip first? Okay, let's do that. Here it is. Let me pull this up. Before I do that, as always, got to bring you to IamCoachColin.com. You got the certified Pure Blood t-shirt for those of you that survived the pandemic unscathed and still pure of blood. We've got the Soul Not For Sale shirt for those of you that do not want to sell your souls to the elite, because that is the one thing that you have control over that they want more than anything. And the Public Enemy #1 shirt. Again, for those of you who do not know who this gentleman is, Google Agenda 2030, Google the World Economic Forum, Google You Will Own Nothing and Be Happy, and you will soon find out. If you don't find out who he is, you will understand a whole bunch more of what's going on in the world and what we have to be wary of. All of that is available at IamCoachColin.com, and if you want 10% off, all you got to do is put in the discount code IamCoachColin, all capital letters, all one word, one L in the name Colin, gets you 10% off. And if you've done that already, thank you. You make this lady very happy every time that happens.
That's true. Every order.
Because it was all her. She's amazing. All right, let's get into this clip.
I was doing some stuff with tigers in India, and I picked up a disease called tularemia, and I had this horrible patch of pus on my elbow. And I went to every doctor. I came home from India, went to doctors in New York, and for 2 months I was like in bed, and I had no energy, and they put me on this antibiotics and that and this and that, and these, again, like New York City infectious disease doctors couldn't heal this thing. I went to the Amazon. JJ takes my arm, looks at it, and goes, "Oh, so bad. Look at this." He goes, "Come with me." We go into the jungle. He cuts a tree, takes the sap, says, "Drink some of this, not too much." He was like, "1 drop of this down your throat." I felt like it was going to close my throat. And then he took the rest of the sap and he rubs it onto the wound. And this is like a disgusting, pussy thing that had been plaguing me for months. It was better the next day.
Really?
It's better the next day. He knew which tree to go to. Now think about how many thousands of years are needed, or at least centuries are needed, in order for him to have that knowledge. How many people living out in the jungle had to try how many things to have that medicinal knowledge handed down through the generations, and then to be in the presence of a person that has that type of knowledge and to have access to it and to witness it working.
And what specifically does that sap work on? Does it work on all kinds of infections and diseases, or just the kind that you had?
No, so we actually tested it in a petri dish, and basically there's some of these saps that just murder infections. Like you can't get this bacteria to live with these saps. So like people use like we don't use Neosporin in the jungle. Like it doesn't work. What we do is we go to the Sangre de Drago tree. Like that works. As soon as I see like a little something like a mosquito bite that just doesn't look right and is like getting too much of my attention, just go and put that on it and immediately gone. One time I slashed myself with a machete. I had this huge wound. I was thinking, oh God, this is going to get so infected. And then JJ's, just drown it in that stuff. You'll be fine. And you won't get infections.
Wow.
There's like miracle shit down there.
And is this widely known? Is this something that the scientific community is aware of?
I mean,
botanists and
yes and no. I think, God, what was it, Captopril? They made from Bushmaster venom in the 1990s, and I think it was Pfizer. I don't know who it was. One of those companies made like a few $1 billion off of it. But what happens is people will discover a compound in the Amazon and then export it. It'll be like thousands of years of wisdom from ancient cultures handed down, and then someone will give that knowledge out to a corporation, and they'll take it, profit off of it, and then that's it. But it's like at this point, one of the things we're trying to do is work with the indigenous communities to try and help them to preserve that knowledge. Because we're also seeing now that as the roads come in and you have the problems with the fires, and it's changing, at the edge where the jungle is being destroyed. The younger people have to decide, do they want to live the way their parents lived? Fishing, hunting howler monkeys, eating howler monkeys. Or do they want to go out into the world and do something else? And it's like, well, then you start with like, well, what else? It's like, it's very, very complex being at the edge of living in like a tribal subsistence community and then being confronted with like the modern world. And they have like a cell phone. And there's definitely a feeling, you can definitely see a feeling of like being like left out. Like they feel like, oh, we're just sitting here on a river. Whereas like, I feel like people from our world would go like, God, they have it perfect. They have all the fish they could ever want.
Have you ever taken someone from there and taken them on a trip to New York City? I mean, I guess they don't have passports.
Well, some of the guys on my team, like that run Jungle Keepers, are like super native, but also kind of worldly. Like one of my guys, this guy Roy, he's a conservation chef, and he's like almost famous. He's been to Italy, he's been to Virginia. But he runs Jungle Keepers. JJ, I mean, speaks perfect English and like does interviews with me on like ABC News and like, so like these guys Roy came to New York City. Dude, the craziest one is this guy. There's a story about an anthropologist. I think it was Kenneth Good. I can't remember what his name was, but he went to the Yanomami, married one of them, brought them to the U.S. She couldn't handle it because she was like, I want to go back to the jungle. But they had kids together, and I heard this legend, like when I was a kid, and then that she had gone back to the jungle, but that this anthropologist had like Yanomami children that he raised on his own in the U.S. Whoa. And then last year I was at a dinner party and I met David Good, who is that guy. He's the kid. And so now he's going back to his people in the Yanomami villages. Yeah. He went to go back. He had to go find his mother. And the first time he saw her, she was naked.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was sitting at like a dinner party and he was like, yeah, this was.
So his mother had abandoned him to go back to the jungle. He's raised by his father.
The anthropologist.
And then how old was he when he went back to see his mother?
I think he was in his 20s.
Wow.
And he had to go on an expedition up a river into the jungle.
Last time he'd seen her? How old was he?
I think when he was a little kid. I don't think she lasted long. I don't think she liked our way of life. She wanted to go back. Yeah. And so now he's doing his PhD. He's awesome. Like he could sit here with us and like he's doing his PhD on the Yanomami microbiome.
That's his mother?
I think that's his mother. And he's studying their gut fauna. Because their rates of cancer, their rates of disease, their rates of depression, of course, are like nothing compared to ours. And so he's launching this massive study right now to find out why are they so healthy and why are we so fucked up.
I think it'd be easier to find out why we're so fucked up.
But yeah, he's got a crazy, crazy story.
The way they have an understanding of their environment and the plants and what to eat and what not to eat is just, I would imagine talking, if you could speak their language and like be immersed with them for a long time and get an understanding of what they know, it must be amazing.
Well, the great thing is that he can. That's what makes him so interesting, is that he's doing it and he's working on it. But think about how much we're losing in terms of like what you said, the connection to the stars, and then the realization on a daily basis that we're part of like this massive march of life, and that we're connected to these systems and the rivers and the rain, and like it sounds like so cliche to almost say it, but it's like when you're down there and you remember these like original truths, and then you go like there's such a dissonance between like when you wake up, there are certain things you have to do. Like when I wake up in the jungle, you have to go check the boat because the river might have eaten it at night. Like you have to go work on your water system. You have to go on the trails and clear them. Like it's like there's things that nature demands. Farmers know this. You have to wake up and milk the cows. Like I feel like what's happening, so many people, it's just like you wake up and you're like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do now?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. And to what he said just now, there's actually a thing to that. Like people like to feel needed, and I think that's the cause of a lot of depression in people today, because you're not really like a part of a tribe. Like you have your family and everything, but like you move out, you're not really a part of anything to a crazy extent. So I think that's what leads to it. I think people were actually saying that, and that's why a lot of people in the 1800s, this is like a different thing, but it's kind of the same. Native tribes, some of them, like in North Americas, some of them would get pulled out, or sorry, what was it? The colonizers would get captured by native tribes and be amongst them, and then they would get rescued, and then they'd all want to go back.
Yeah,
every
for
single
sure.
one, because they were in this tribe, and like you were needed.
Yeah.
You know, like that guy when he wakes up, the thing that he brought up, he's like, you know, you have to check the boat. Like he has a duty that he has to check the boat. He has to make sure the boat's not gone, and people are depending on him for that. You know, like when you're depended on.
Yeah.
You know? Like we've even talked about it, like members of families, fathers, like you want to, like I think you've said it, like you like to feel needed. People
Yeah.
like to feel like they're
course.
needed, and if that goes away, and it usually does, like when you're not in this tribe, family, community setting, it becomes sad.
And it creates connection too.
Yeah.
Because then you have to maybe like go to somebody for something, and then they feel valued for doing that task.
They're the person,
Yeah.
you know? They're the person that has to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like you like making me coffee. I like pouring your water every day before you go to work. Like,
Yeah.
I like doing it. Like I'm the person that does that. No one else does that. If we had a kid and they tried to do it, I'd be like, get out of here. I'd be like, get out of here. I do that. But yeah, it's a funny little thing. But to that story that he brought up, that's a weird thing. That he was able to get her, bring her over.
Yeah.
She wanted to go back. And let me be clear, guys. The reason she wanted to go back is because he took her from the beautiful jungle to Philadelphia. Okay? And even back then, I'm sure Philly was still Philly-ish.
Yeah. I think it was New Jersey actually.
Well, it says Philadelphia in that article that I sent
think
you.
the son that they were talking about, David,
Yeah.
moved to Philadelphia after.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. He's already in New
offense,
Jersey, so.
No offense, Philly people. I've been seeing-
Cheesesteaks, great stuff.
Yeah, I've been seeing some videos. That's all. But yeah. Like she wanted to go back. It's very interesting, and she did. She did.
Well, from what I read too, it was like they would take like kind of like vacations like back to see her people.
Of course.
And then one time they went without the kids, and she just stayed.
Oh.
So he was trying to get her to come back on the plane to go back to New Jersey, and she literally just ran into the jungle.
Wow. Is that
So it
what
wasn't
was?
even like a conversation.
Really?
Yeah. It was just, I'm not getting on this plane, and she booked it.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You read that in what I sent you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And as I was reading like all the stuff you sent me too, it was like, it's a little bit dark.
Right?
But we'll get into that.
The
But I
long-
was like,
right?
oh.
It gets weird. It gets weird.
Like Kenneth Good is the anthropologist, so that's the dad
Yeah.
of the family. So he went down initially in 1975.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he was then, but like you'd think like, I think he was a PhD student or something.
So,
So he-
25?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And he ended up staying there. He was only supposed to be like a couple months, but he got like a lot of grant money and whatever else. So he ended up staying like 12 years total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a long time he was there.
Yeah.
And the like the tribe members were like, you can't just like be here and not have a wife. Like you need to be like
Yeah.
part of our community, like responsible for
Yeah.
one of our women. So that's how he ended up married.
That's what it was. True.
And when he got married, she was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, I read 15 years old.
Well, okay, that was when they consummated the marriage, according to him.
How crazy is that? 15.
And then if
Good.
if
Not good.
he met her at 12 or 13 when he was 25,
Yeah.
then it would have been a couple years later.
And of course, in his defense, right? Like it's different over there. You know, like that's what he was saying in the article I sent.
saw that too.
He was like, "Oh, it's a different way of life. They only live to 45." But then
No, but
also-
we're brought up a certain way.
yeah, exactly. He was brought up a certain way. He knows better, right? Or he knows how our society works. But then also this gentleman, Paul, in the Rogan episode, he talks about one of his friends and his father, and how he died at like 87 years old. So obviously
Oh,
they don't just.
That's not true.
die
Then
at
it'll just keel
45.
over at 45.
Yeah, no, that's
And
not.
like even if they do, it doesn't. It's still a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, it wasn't. That was an interesting part. That was the part I didn't want to tell you when I was reading it. I was like,
Yeah, I was a
whoa.
bit shocked too.
I'm like, this is weird, very weird.
And it also sounded a lot like grooming.
Of course, that's what it's gonna sound like.
Because he was saying, let me see if I can find that part again, but it was like the things he would like do in the beginning were like sweet, but like
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
See if I
The
can
whole-
find it.
The whole situation is very odd, and I don't know what to make of that part. But it's just interesting that she was willing to go over to the city, but it makes sense because she was so young.
Yeah.
And like now this is her husband, this is her caretaker.
And they already had kids.
Yeah, and they have kids, so it's like you're gonna follow him.
Yeah.
You know? And
So
then she
he-
just runs back into the jungle.
Yeah. That's horrible.
It's horrible, but also so understandable.
Yeah.
So understandable.
But still leaving 3 kids, like regardless of your husband.
Even well, the thing is, I don't know about their society. I would assume a mother's love is kind of transcendent over all cultures, where you're like connected to
Yeah.
your kids no matter what. But then you got to think of the life. Like I was reading about how these people live and how basic it is. I don't know if you read that too. Like they don't have musical instruments.
Yeah.
They just exist. They wake up and everybody has like a little thing to do, and they just exist. And to go from that and to get thrown into this thing of taking care of kids, that's natural because that happens, in both cultures. But then also to like have to be worried about so much. Like when you think of that life and then you think of the life that we live, you have
Yeah.
to worry about so much more. And
It's
it's
true.
just kind of things that we kind of put upon ourselves.
Yeah.
Like when you think of how life could be, like that is possible to do. It is possible to live in the jungle and exist and be by a river and fish,
Yeah.
but instead we take on this life where there's so many things. I got to worry about the light bulbs for the lights, make sure the camera's all good and doesn't break, get a new microphone arm for you. And this is just the studio part, and then we got to worry about clothes. It's just there's so much.
Yeah.
So much. The food.
And like I gotta go to work to pay
We-
to make money
we
to
don't-
pay for my car and gas to get to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Stupid.
Right? Like, and we just keep doing things like that. There's so much in this culture that you just naturally, as you step into adulthood, that you just have to worry about, and it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And if you're not if you don't have that in your bloodline, like we have that in our bloodline for a bunch of generations. If you don't have that at all, and you're the first one doing it, that's a real adjustment.
Oh, a new order came in.
Oh, great. See how happy she gets?
Can't believe
But yeah, it would be really tough, and the thing is, it's like you could look at her as horrible, but it's probably really hard for her too,
Of course.
because it's like, this guy is the authority figure. Is he going to let me take my kids? I have to go back on that plane and go over there. I don't know how to get back over here.
Can you imagine going on a plane?
Yeah. Right?
Holy, what a brave woman.
Right? She doesn't know what that is.
Yeah.
She has no idea.
And as
doesn't
he
know
was
it's
like
safer than being in a
describing
car.
it to her, he was like worried about her because part of like the other dark part was she was assaulted every time he would leave. So he would go to a city, or he would like fly back home, like when they were married, and leave her there.
Yeah.
For the first
and
little
then she
bit.
was like an unprotected woman.
Yes.
Wow.
And she would be assaulted by the men in the village
Wow.
because they thought he was gone for good, so she could just be fair game.
Yeah. Wow. And they're probably like, forceful in their tactics,
Yeah,
to say the least.
exactly.
Wow.
So that was happening. So he
What a
said to
life.
her, like, I don't want to have to worry about you in the jungle alone. Like, come to my village of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Like it was the same.
my little village in New
My
Jersey.
village of New Jersey. Yeah.
Wow. See, it's like, it is a hard thing or a horrible thing that she did, like leaving like that. But also it's like, you're traversing so many brave things. Like, you're getting married, you're having children, You're going on planes. You're going across. You don't even know where you're going. You have no idea where you're going. You're in this other place.
You don't even know how big the world is. That would be
Yeah.
so confusing.
Yeah. Like what he was talking about when he went over and how everybody was talking to him in their language because they didn't even know there was other languages.
Yeah.
You know how crazy that is?
That is crazy.
They didn't even know other languages existed.
Yeah.
It's so crazy
Yeah.
to me.
And then I was reading a part too that he was saying that everything that Kenneth Good would do, they would just like laugh at
Yeah.
because it was so funny and foreign.
Mm-hmm.
And he said at one point he took off his shoes and his socks
Yeah.
and they saw his feet and they like laughed so hard because his like toes are all like squished together, like I think most North American people's are from wearing shoes from a very young age, and theirs were all like splayed out and nice like they're supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't even know that's the thing that like we're ignorant to.
Yeah.
We're ignorant to language. We don't even know that our toes are supposed to be like out. They're
Yeah,
supposed
we
to
have
be like
weird
this.
little sad toes,
Your toes are supposed to be like this, so when you walk, you can like handle some stuff.
like fingers.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like short fingers.
Yeah, fingers of the foot.
Yeah, it's weird. Very weird. But yeah, just a wild thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
What a lady. And at the same time, again, like I know it seems so horrible that she did that, but at the same time, it's like amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like I always tell you about, well, I've told so many people about my mom. She's like, she was in Barbados and she grew up so poor, and then she like left her home and had kids and left the men she was with and did it on her own and became a bodybuilder and like, did all these wild things. But think about what that woman did. You know what I mean? Like she was a jungle lady. Like there was a jungle where my mom lived, but she wasn't a jungle lady.
Yeah.
She was a farm lady. She was like a farmer family kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the world is odd.
And I was reading a bit of what David, the son, was saying about like what he remembered from the experience with his mom in the States. And he said at one point that there was like a Jeep nearby that like the engine revved when it started, and she like ran and hid in the bushes because she thought it was an animal.
For sure. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Crazy.
Of course she did. Of course she did. This is actually David. I gotta get a better picture of this guy.
And she was in the States for 6 years and didn't really learn much English.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that too. That's him. That's the son. It keeps going back to that article. But that's him. What a guy. So he went back. Did we talk about that part when he reunited with his mom?
No, not yet.
I can't go on Instagram because Instagram's banned me. Can't go on there. They're like, we know what you post about. But yeah, this is him, just like being with his people. So crazy.
Yeah, like they were saying in that clip, he went back and like had to like journey through the jungle to find her. And then he found the people and said he was like the son of Urema, which is her name. And they found her, and he said it just like went all silent, and everybody was just like watching them. And she came up, and she's just buck naked because that's what they do.
Yeah. The first time he saw his mom, she was naked.
Yeah.
That's something that we
first time in like over 15 years.
wish never to happen to any of us in the Western world.
Yeah.
You never want to see your mother naked.
No.
And that's what he was thrust into. First time.
Uh-huh.
And you know what's interesting about that? It's almost like I've always talked about, how you and like a woman will usher a man into manhood. Men don't go into manhood on their own. It's when they find a woman that they're willing to be responsible for and step up for and everything like that. And in this journey of his, it's almost like, his mother forced him through that rite of passage that her people have always had, like being in the jungle and finding your way.
True.
And coming to the village and seeing your mom naked and like all of that is something that he had to go through to like expand as a man, like from both sides of his family, because his dad was it a doctor, his dad?
An anthropologist.
Yeah, so he was kind of walking the same path as his dad, and he already went through all those initiations of sorts.
Yeah.
And now it was like time to experience the other side of the family. So it's really cool. Really cool that he had to go through that. What are you looking at?
Just reading the article still.
What is it? What's weird?
I don't know. So he was back there for like a couple months
Yeah, of course.
and just like wanted to experience the life and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he was introduced to 2 girls that were in the village, and he asked who the girls were.
Oh, was it his family?
And his mom replied that they're his wives.
Oh, they're his wives.
Yeah.
And wait, was this his first time there, or as he
First
came back?
time.
First time.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's like she knew. She's like, one day my son's gonna come back, and he's gonna be one of these silly Westerners,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make sure that the jungle takes care of him.
And he said they really, really wanted to be my wife, and they really wanted me to be their husband. And it became evident after I spent some time in the village that they really, really wanted to have kids. Oh, I don't know what that means.
Wow.
And in their mind, you
Probably
know,
got naked.
well, they were already naked.
That's true too.
And in their mind, you know, they're probably thinking his father is a Nava, a complete outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And he took a Yanomami wife. Surely his son, who is half Yanomami, would have no problem taking a Yanomami wife.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
But he refused.
Did he?
I had to kick my wife out of the hammock.
Whoa. She's probably.
And then there's times where they ganged up on me saying, "You're my Yanomami husband, and we're going to have children together, and don't be afraid."
Whoa.
That's so funny.
Just for anybody watching the screen, that's his mom there. So that's him and his mom. Wild. Wow. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So these ladies came onto him
Yeah.
pretty hard. I gotta be honest. I'm not him, and I'm married, and I love you, but I would do it if I was that guy.
I don't know, though, because
I'd
it's
be
like
let's go.
if you're in that tribe, though, if you claim someone as a wife, like what are the expectations and what are the consequences if you don't
I don't know.
follow through?
I don't know.
And like, do you really want to have like a kid in the jungle and then you have to leave?
Yeah, that's true. Then you have to do what your dad did. And
Yeah.
then your
And
mom
that's like a whole life decision.
The wife might do the same thing
Yeah.
that your mom did.
Who wants that?
Yeah, that's rough. I'm just thinking like a guy. You know, that's a once in a lifetime thing. A jungle lady?
2 jungle ladies.
Two jungle ladies? Some guys don't get 2 ladies their whole lives.
Yeah.
At once? They probably would have done whatever he said. You're both my wife. Come here. Oh,
You're both my wife.
come on. Wow. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
All right, you gotta do that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Especially they're like your people. That activates some kind of DNA. Just him being in that place and like experiencing that.
Yeah.
It has to. It has to. Just activate something in you that's like there, dormant. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's like if I took you to like Europe somewhere, you'd start like building a shed, and I'd be like, "That's right."
I can probably already build a shed.
Probably like churning butter or something. You know, it would just activate something.
Yeah.
Take me back to Africa. I'll kill a lion.
There you go.
You just activate something in you, and you go back to the places. But it's so amazing that he was able to find that tribe.
Yeah.
You know,
That's amazing.
because like as somebody who's black, like we all know that we come from certain places, and then because of slavery and them selling people and people being taken, people being sold by other Africans, like you never really know where you're fully from.
Mm-hmm.
And more than likely there's like a tribe that you're actually associated with. And to think about somebody being able to be in Philly or New Jersey or wherever and then go back to where your tribe is, like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Such an incredible thing.
Especially given that she was assaulted.
Yeah.
And then she like
true.
runs back to it.
True. Yeah. Well, I mean, but the thing is, it's like, it's assault because, well, I mean, it's assault because of the way our world works and, you know, they're doing whatever they're trying to do. But to them, you know, and even to her, it's like if she didn't have a husband and kids and everything, it would, like that's how it would all work.
Yeah, I guess.
The men there don't know about planes. They just saw your husband leave in a boat and he didn't take you with him.
And he'd
if he
been
was-
gone for a long time.
And if he was a real man, obviously he'd take you with him because that's what men do in our tribes. Like, you come everywhere with me.
Yeah.
Why would he leave you behind? He obviously doesn't want you. Like that's the thought process, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, so crazy.
Yeah, and at the very end of the this was like an article about like an interview. Kenneth Good was saying, like asking the interviewer, he was like, I still love her, and should I go down there and get her? And the interviewer was like, I think you still love her, but I don't think you should go down there and get her. I think you tried that.
You
And
can't do
Kenneth
that.
Good was like, yeah.
I feel like he doesn't have that choice. With
No.
a lady like that.
No, she already made her choice.
Yeah, you gotta be something else if you want to do that.
Like, he
feel
could
like-
go down there and be with her
Yeah.
if he really wanted to. Why does he have to bring her back up?
Yeah, especially I don't know, man. Like I when you see the Amazon, you see these places, it's like I'd rather be there, I feel like. If I have a wife, kids, and they're all okay being there, it's like I'd rather go there. It's so much here. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I'm always talking about like I want a house and I want a bunch of acres. I want to grow stuff. I want to have cattle. Like I don't like how complicated everything is here. It's annoying. It's annoying how complicated it is. The main complication is like not being left alone. Like there's this ever-present, you know, government entity that's like trying to always decide what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And like doesn't happen there. Like the way that they've lived, from my understanding from the gentleman on Joe Rogan, the way they've lived is how they've lived for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it
That's
just
true.
doesn't change. Yeah. But another interesting thing was that before he talked about this story, he was talking about the younger people who are kind of modern and kind of feeling like they're missing out on the modern
Yeah.
world.
And some of them like have cell phones and stuff.
Yeah, so I guess they're seeing social media.
Yeah.
I think that's so bad. To be able to see, like, social media affects us here in such a negative way,
True.
you know?
And then imagine like seeing it and not being brought up with it and kind of understanding
That it's
the dangers
fake.
and that everything's fake.
Yeah, that too. That
Like
it's
imagine
fake.
seeing somebody with like a filter. You'd be like, who are these
What a
amazingly beautiful
beautiful
people?
lady.
Yeah. Like you'd like go out and find them because they're shaking their ass and they
Yeah.
think like like you don't even know. Like what?
Exactly. Yeah, so true. The filters, seeing everybody. Oh, everybody's always so happy. It would give you this impression that the West is such a happy place.
That's true.
And not realizing, not understanding, not having a concept, because they don't have the concept of mental illness.
Yeah,
Not
that's true.
understanding that so many people are going through like dark. They don't know what depression is.
Yeah.
They don't have that here. There. You know, they don't have any of that. So they don't know that people present themselves as super happy and then turn around and are like in a dark place.
Yeah.
You know? So sad. And it's crazy because, like he said, they don't realize that they have everything already. Like, you're good. Like, if you're in that atmosphere and you have a cell phone, like, you're pretty good. You're pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, you're good. You can just fish. You know how to fish. You know?
I wonder how they even pay for the cell phone. I guess they like sell fish or something. Because they're like on the edge, he was saying.
Yeah, they're on the edge. Well, they're always near the river. Like all of these tribes, they always try to stay near water.
Of course.
Because that's where you bathe. That's where you clean yourself. That's where you fish. And also the river kind of directs you.
Yeah.
Like you know where you are.
True.
Because you're near that river. So they're always near there. So maybe they sell fish. But they probably go into town. Because this tribe that this gentleman, David Good, that he's a part of, that his mom's a part of, they are not uncontacted. Like, I'll kill you on sight uncontacted.
Yeah.
They're like, they get in contact with people. They see people come.
Yeah, well,
see
clearly. And they were saying too, like, as soon as they can hear a motor on the river, everybody comes running to see who it is.
Yeah,
Like they're more like welcoming.
They're nicer.
Yeah.
They're nicer.
They don't come running with like bows and arrows.
Yeah, exactly. Until something like crazy happens with some Westerners,
Yeah.
then they might get like that. But yeah, it's crazy to think that there's some people who feel like they don't realize that they could just like some of those cures from trees and leaves that they have. They don't realize they could just like take that and like make billions of dollars.
Yeah,
That's
true.
not even in their head.
Yeah, they don't think about it.
Because they think they're gonna come over here and it's like, yeah, we do that too. We do this
We
with this tree. We have no idea about any of that.
Yeah. Well, they probably just think we have the same trees here.
Yeah.
And it's
that
just
too.
common knowledge.
That too.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't realize most of us are allergic to grass and
Oh yeah,
dust
horrible.
and trees.
We're such
They'd be like,
little
how do you
losers.
survive? How are you not dead? You're allergic
Yeah.
to this stuff?
I mean, like some people like die, they get stung by a bee.
Yeah. They have no knowledge of that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like it's funny to see, like, sometimes, you know, people just don't see what they have in front of them
Yeah.
already.
Like my sister who's allergic to apples.
Right? That's wild. Like me,
crazy.
I'm allergic to dogs, cats. If a stuffed animal's too furry, I'm allergic to it. Like, what? I'm allergic to dust.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
That is crazy.
If someone's cutting the grass and I'm running, it's like it's over for me. Like, it's really bad. But all that would go away if we stayed out there long enough.
Yeah, probably.
All of that would you'd adjust. You'd start adjusting. It would
Yeah.
get into you, you know?
Yeah.
We're just so separated from it that it doesn't have a chance to. We put up a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm covered in lotion and stuff all the time.
True.
Yeah. It's like there's literally a barrier. So I can't get in touch with it. But yeah, very interesting, those young people, to
Yeah.
think that they want to come over here or that they're missing out. Not realizing that everybody, every single person that they're looking at on their phone is trying to get to the place where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the regular thing to do is to work as much as you can until you're old so you can do what they're doing.
For like maybe 10 years.
Yeah. They don't even realize that.
When you're already old and can't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
sad.
Paul guy should explain that to them. He should like explain that. Like, hey, it's terrible there, just so you know.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Like, throw your cell phone in the river. Like, just throw it away. You don't need
Yeah.
it. And then also how he commented on that certain pharmaceutical company taking
Yeah,
one
that
of
was
these things.
crazy.
Isn't that
And making
nuts?
billions from it.
That's what I mean. Like, they could be doing that.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it makes me think, like, why isn't that Paul guy, the guy who's on Rogan, why isn't he doing that? Why isn't this guy, David Good, why isn't he doing that? Like, for them. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, he
Like-
said the name of the tree too. I forget what it was called.
Yeah,
but
he said some wild name.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like,
it's
why
like-
can't anybody do that at this point? Like, it's not hidden.
They should just do that for them. They should just make a thing for them and be like, okay, now you're going to
Like,
sell
just
this.
go patent.
Like, this patent belongs to this tribe
Yeah.
forever. And if anybody comes and tries to take those trees, like, they owe you money.
Yeah.
But it'd be so hard to explain the concepts of everything.
You don't have to explain. You just put it into like a trust or conservation
Yeah, you'd
effort.
have to just, like, do it.
Yeah.
Because to explain to them that they now own what's in this tree, they'd be like,
Nobody can own it.
what are
do
you
you mean?
talking about?
Yeah, it grows from the earth. You don't own it.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I'm telling you, I want to get to that kind of life. We got to do it.
Yeah.
We got to do it. Maybe not the jungle, but at least a farm. I like
Yeah,
farms.
lots of land, some chickens.
I fell in love, for anybody that doesn't know, because, you know, I'm a black guy, and you're like, why does this guy, like, love farms? Well, it's in my family already. My family in the Caribbean, they were farmers. Funny enough, watermelon farmers. Stereotypical enough. So I never argue with anybody. They're like, black people love watermelons. I'm like, yeah. My black people do, that's for sure. So I have that, and then also when I was in film and television, there were so many sets that were on farms, and I would have to watch them because that was like my job. I would like scout the location and then watch the location and then stay there until everybody got there. And it was always like big farms, and I loved it. I would stay there and just smoke weed, allegedly. Not allowed to smoke on the job, but I would just like smoke joints and just like walk around these huge farms and be like, oh my God. Oh, it was so good. I remember one time, location manager, production manager, I think director of photography, all found me. I was like way out into this farm. I had my shirt off. I had just finished smoking a joint. And I like saw them in the distance. I was like, oh. Put on my shirt. Hey guys, everything's good.
That's so funny.
It's so crazy. Great job. Oh man. But anything else?
No, that was it.
Guys, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the like button. It's somewhere down here. Hit it if you haven't hit it already. And look into the uncontacted tribes. Look into this tribe. This guy's name, the kid who went back to his mother, his name's David Good. He actually has a website. Let me pull this up quickly for people. He has a blog. He even has a channel on YouTube. Let me go to the YouTube channel.
And I think he like makes money for the Yanomami tribe.
I would hope so. Yeah, definitely. I have something on a playlist here that I can show to people.
Yeah, so he has something called Project Good, and the website is snapjudgment.org.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Snapjudgment.org. And then I'm just going to pull up this YouTube channel really quick. It's in my history just for you guys, just so you guys can see a little bit. Where is this? Oh, let me just play this really quick. Really, really quick. This is an interesting one. I know we got to wrap up because we still got to eat dinner. Mm-hmm. But let me just show this real quick. This is a very interesting video. So this guy meets up with my brother and mother. They said I have to take a hallucinogen. So he's about to take a psychedelic right now. Check this out. This is really weird.
Dale, así. Duro.
All right, I'm gonna put that video again. There's a playlist. It's called The Research, where I'm gonna put everything. I'm gonna put his channel. He seems to be associated with something called Shabono Media. So I'm gonna put that in the research, and you can watch that. He takes this psychedelic. The only reason I wanted to play that is because I've taken that psychedelic.
Oh.
Yeah. Me and my buddy Mike. Mike shot it into my nose.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, it's like a tobacco
You
snuff
said it was like
thing.
horrible.
Yeah. It like blows your mind. It's just like, it's crazy. It's nuts. But yeah, other than that, guys, we got to wrap it up. We got to go eat dinner. What are we going to eat?
I have no idea.
All right, I want ground beef. I want ground beef and ketchup.
We don't have any more ketchup.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, whatever. We'll figure it out. All right, guys, other than that, I'm out.
Bye.
Let's go.